Yep.
Wow.
Really?
Okay, you guys ready?
9,000 people in
Oh,
Chicago.
I guess it's time. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Go for it.
Arnold,
Here.
Beckwith,
Here.
Cheng,
Here.
Farkapisi,
Here.
Kotsinis, absent,
He's coming.
Linsdau, absent, Sutton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning. Anyone want to speak in public comment? Do you have any correspondence?
Yes, we have to thank you, cards for the bonus from Nancy Kotowski and Betty Sewing.
Nice. Okay, everybody get a chance to read the special meeting minutes
Yeah.
and the exec session minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, anyone
Yeah.
want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to approve as presented then?
Motion the consent agenda be approved as presented.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Okay. President's report, page 11. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, who else has a report? Nobody? Report? Okay, you're up.
So this is not in the report, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention. So I've been talking with the village about entering into another intergovernmental agreement to do the second phase of the parking lot. So I'm going to pass this around. The village of Gurnee, assuming we give them the okay tomorrow morning, we'll put this on their agenda to approve, and then this board would accept this IGA next month. So it's very much like the previous intergovernmental agreement. The only difference is it says that we'll pay the contractor directly. But this is great for us because, once again, we get the expertise of the village for this project. So there's nothing in here that that I have any issue with. So I just wanted to show this to you, just to keep you in the loop. And obviously, if you see anything that's objectable, please let me know. But it's just like the previous intergovernmental agreement the board passed, with the exception of saying that we'll pay the vendor directly, which we did last time. It just was a little bit confusing because the IJB wasn't clear on that. So,
Okay.
and I just got this the other day. That's why it wasn't in the packet. So, the other thing I wanted to mention is that Representative Daniel Didich's office reached out to us and other libraries in his district, and he has this weird district that he serves in Illinois. It includes Waukegan, it includes
Fremont,
Fremont,
Vernon.
Am I forgetting?
And what's
Cook
his
Memorial,
title?
yeah.
What's his title, Ryan? It's like-
Illinois Representative Daniel Didich.
Okay.
And he is hosting a call to talk about legislation that he's proposing, which is essentially a cannabis tax for libraries. Which is interesting because this isn't something that ILA has initiated with his office. Not something that Joe and I attended a meeting, you might recall, at Vernon area. Was that 4 months ago, 5 months ago? Which was nice because he organized
Late
it to meet.
summer, early
Yeah,
fall?
yeah. And with library districts, he listened to us, and so our plan is to listen, obviously, to this legislation, and we'll report back. The invitation is open. Joe and I are going to be in this call at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So if you are free and you want to come in and sit in on the call, you're welcome. And it's not a lot of notice, but I think we'll obviously report back what we learn. And if you have any questions you want us to ask him, please feel free to share them now. But we're going to listen because we don't really know a lot about the legislation, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've read about it, Ansel Glink, they sent out this municipal minute, even though they're not our law firm. I subscribe to that, and they talk about what's going on with local laws. They mentioned it the other day in their blurb, and they indicated that other bodies like municipalities that are set to receive tax revenue will probably have issue with this. So I imagine the Illinois Municipal League will have issue with this legislation. I would think it wouldn't go anywhere, but I don't know a lot about it, so we'll see.
Why, so it's to tax cannabis and the library will get some funds.
Correct.
Why would we be against that?
Well, we wouldn't be against it. I think there will be opposition. I think the Illinois Municipal League will be against it.
So,
Opposition by who?
are we talking about
By
a
the
new,
like the municipalities in Illinois.
is this a new incremental tax, or is this a portion of the existing
Yes.
tax to go to libraries?
I think it would be like a 1% tax, which would be cutting into the revenues that municipalities and the county would receive, is my understanding. We'll find out more tomorrow,
Okay,
so stay tuned.
thank you.
And if you want to come tomorrow at 9 a.m., let me know, and you can join us. Or I can even probably share the conference call information if you want to dial in from your workplace, but we'll report back, so. So those are the two things I want to mention that are not in the executive director's report.
I had a question. Is the, like, paying within 30 days, is that standard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anything else? Questions on Ryan's report?
1.5 million minutes to read, that's a lot.
Oh, the goal?
Yeah,
For,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we
That's stuck out
we ended up
there.
with Noreen, was it like 1.2 million?
That's the problem with exceeding goals.
Yeah, we
So-
always set it higher the next year, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
Yeah.
they're pretty tough.
But we're excited. We had a meeting about summer reading today. We're excited. The theme is read to remember, which is
I
interesting
love
because
it.
it's going to allow us to really all kinds of things in terms of programming. Focus on some historical events. It'll be good
I
times.
thought it was a really good title.
Yeah.
I could already imagine. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So we're excited.
Mhm.
Okay.
What is the One Book, One Community project about? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, that's something that Madeline, who does our adult programming on, she's leading the efforts on that. And basically, so we did this in the past. A lot of libraries did this. This I think originated in Seattle with Nancy Pearl. I think she's credited with starting this. You might have heard her on NPR. If there's a rock star librarian that exists, it's probably Nancy Pearl. But anyway, so the idea is your whole community reads a book, and then there are events around it. You discuss that book. Well, what they're trying to do, some programming specialists at area libraries, they're trying to scale it up. And I think they want to talk about the Great Lakes and the environment, the change or the impact that climate change has on the Great Lakes, how that impacts us. So I think that's I don't remember the title of the book, but
And they're with Gray's Lake, they wanna.
yeah, I think there are a number of libraries that are getting on
Together?
board. Yeah, so should be a good initiative. And I think that's really the way to do it, because I think the problem with One Book, One Community, you're limited and there's limited interest, but when you scale it out to various communities that have this an interest in common, I think it can be effective. So
I'll make a very nice big thing.
other questions?
Okay.
One quick question, I'm sorry. The drug use in the study room? I had a question. Marijuana or something?
Oh yeah, it was marijuana.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was. I asked Eddie about it. I thought it was vaping, because that's the big thing. If you're not familiar with vaping,
Oh, yeah.
it's a big issue, and one that at the last Healthy Community Healthy Youth Meeting we talked about. Mike Nerheim came and he talked about the lawsuit the Lake County has against Juul, one of the manufacturers, and all the issues with it. In any event, without going on and on about it, it's a big issue, something we watch, because you may not know this, but with vaping, kids have these devices, they might look like a flash drive. Well, it's a vape device, and you might think, oh, what's the big deal? Well, these vaping devices, even the ones that just have tobacco or in it, they have the nicotine, but they have these other things as well, like nickel could be in these
They
vape
don't know,
devices,
yeah.
lead, all kinds of
Garbage.
bad stuff. There's the young man in Gurnee that was hospitalized, that got the popcorn lung. So it's a serious issue. But in this case, there was like some smoke that smelled like marijuana, so it was the more traditional variety.
But we have a no vaping policy here at all, right?
Correct.
Sure.
Yep.
Mhm.
Was it 3 separate incidents or one incident with 3 people
Three
in it?
teens.
3 people
3 teens. They were all in the room together.
Yeah,
together.
yeah. And also this adult one, they indefinitely suspended, what does that mean? They can come and talk to us about coming back?
Yeah, they would have
or
to come
what?
to the board.
Okay.
I mean, it's a
So
pretty.
it's significant.
Right.
Right.
And unfortunately, we've had a number of those, but it's the behavior is so bad that it really warrants, if they don't have any hope of coming back, they've got to show us that they've done something to
Change their.
Change the
yeah.
behavior.
And sometimes it's due to mental health issues. In this
Sure.
case, I think there are other issues with the patron, unfortunately, that they need to get some assistance
Well,
before they're able to come
Unsafe
back.
without guardian, but
Right.
it was adult, I thought, okay.
Right,
that kind of
right.
gave me a clue.
So.
Yeah, okay. So I was curious about what's going on.
Okay, Strap.
Yeah, so we are in the information gathering phase of the strategic planning process. Just this past week, Laura Stone and I were at the Gurney Volunteer Fair, and we had a lot of people come by, not only learn about volunteer opportunities, but they filled out the survey. Right now, the survey is only online because we're trying to get people to push them to fill it out online. But when the Inside Angle comes out, which it comes out Friday, February 22nd, this is discussed in the Inside Angle, so we'll have the paper copies at the service desk, and we're gonna work with staff how to discuss it. But for the outreach events, we have these buttons that we wear. I'll pass these around in English and Espanol. And you've seen the survey before, but we have an English version and a Spanish version. And the future outreach events include both District 50 and District 56. I think the District 56 event is a Black History Month event. We've got some outreach with the Black Student Union at Warren Township High School. We're going to meet with them and give the surveys and meet with that student group. We're going to Islamic Foundation North on Friday, Jan, Marsh, and I, to do the survey. We're going to Jewel Osco next month, so we're. Is it March? Oh, okay, March. So.
We're supposed to be at Gillespie last Saturday, but they
And
weren't
the
gonna let us
snow.
come inside, so.
With the weather, yeah. So yeah, that's what we're working on right now. So if you remember the timeline, it's by the middle of March where we want to have this data collected, and with that, we'll review that and start to formally develop the plan. So that's where we're at in the process. Any questions?
I like the just for questions.
One of the things I thought that the board might want to add on the committee of the whole agenda for February is reviewing the board philosophy that's in the current strategic plan, and to see if that's something that the board still feels is valid, and if the board might want to tweak that. I don't think that would necessarily be too long of a conversation to have the committee of the whole. What do you think?
No, you're asking me? No, I don't think it was too much.
All right.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Anything else on that?
That's all I have.
Okay.
And then landscaping.
So Kevin and our Kevin met last week with Kevin Block, who is representative of the new company we're using for both snow removal and landscaping, to talk about what we can do to finish the project. And I'm excited to work with them because one of the things that they do is they cultivate some of their own plants, so they might have some options for us that weren't an option before. So what we're doing is we told him our budget, and I'll talk about the budget in a second, and asked him to come back with some options, and I also asked to basically give us a full range of options. Like if he saw something that might be a little bit more than the budget, to let us know. And my intention is to come to the board and have you vote on it, because when you look at the way we did the budget, the money that's in the budget this year, that came out of special reserve for the landscaping is gone. The money we budgeted in expendable trust that we raised to put in Celebration Square has been used, but basically the fundraising money that we've raised has essentially been used to put in Celebration Square. So I estimate there's about $9,000 that we've raised for the project. However, it hasn't formally been budgeted for the project. So even though the board has appropriated that money, I'd feel comfortable coming to the board and having you vote on what you want to spend to finish the project. And they'll give you some options. So if you decide we want to go cheap and just get this thing done, put some grass in, you can make that decision. But I don't think that's necessarily the right
I
approach.
continue to
But-
offer my day lilies.
But since we did fundraise money for that, we have fundraising money left over, I think it makes sense. So any questions about that? I mean, my goal, I think all of our goal is to get that done in the spring as soon as possible. So that's what we're moving for. So hopefully,
What's the name, you said the new company, what's the name again?
it's Vignaci. Yeah,
I saw it in.
yeah. So they're, if I've got it right.
It was in the text.
Yeah,
IT Vignoki.
Vignoki, I'm sorry, thank you.
Non parla l'italiano.
But they're great, and I have to say that so far we've been really satisfied with their service. With snow events that we've had. I mean, luckily we haven't had anything too crazy.
Yeah.
But even the day like this weekend, it was a little bit complicated, and we were open for business, no problems. So which unfortunately recently has not been the case. So they've been really
And
responsive.
Friday when we got the snow, they were there and at the door making sure that the sidewalk was, people were leaving at 6 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great, they were great.
Yeah, the only thing that happened, this isn't their fault. There's a you might have noticed a bobcat out front that broke down, and they decided to keep it here to work on it. So we're trying to get that worked out where they can move it and get it off property and fix it off property someplace and not in our parking lot. So.
My son did notice that. I was
Yeah.
very interested.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad the kids like it.
Don't leave it there too long, the
Yeah.
library will make a program out of it. I'm gonna tell my programmer.
It'll be a great program.
Stargazing on the bobcat.
Bob the Builder.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, we're ready to move on to the ordinance.
Yeah.
You want to chat it up first?
Well, for those new board members, this is typical. What we do is the board passes an ordinance to basically abating the bond debt. So, I think it's self-explanatory. This is pretty standard. The difference this year is that we're abating debt on the new bonds that were issued last year. So that's the difference. But this is this is pro forma. This is standard. Any questions about this ordinance?
You have to do it, yeah.
Okay, who would like to make the motion?
I move that the board adopt ordinance 2019-2020-7, levy abatement of debt service.
I second.
Discussion? Should we have a roll call, please?
Farkapisi,
Yes.
Sutton,
Yes.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Cheng,
Aye.
Linsdau absent, Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Okay. Financials.
Lots this
A
month.
lot,
So
wow.
I'll turn it. Can I go first? Just because I want to say that we don't have the corrections that Andrea asked for yet. I don't know if you want to pass these like under that condition that they be corrected, or you want to just wait. It's like a conditional.
I can't recommend that
Okay.
statements that are not correct be passed.
Well, I didn't think so, but I wanted to throw it out there.
Those
So-
little initials, I have them allowed. What the issue is, it's a small issue, but the bonds, that $6 million is right now sitting in unrestricted, but clearly it's restricted.
Mm,
So they just gotta move it
so
down.
different, okay.
Plus,
Haven't
we could make a manual change and pass it as corrected.
Corrected.
That seems a little wonky.
Dicey.
Yeah.
What do you mean, they just have to do the journal entry to catch up to what we fixed?
I think done is good. Let's go for that.
I will make the change, give me a moment.
Okay. Happy to do that.
So was the fund created or the fund is done?
The fund is created, and, but they didn't get it entirely right. So if everybody will turn to page 40 in their packet for October. Cross out in the second column from the right, well, before you cross it out, right in the line below it, under fund balance temporarily restricted, $6,070,129, $70,129.81, and then cross it out in the line above it.
One more.
Oh, right here.
Oh, right there, okay.
I just put an arrow.
That's fine. As corrected for that. And then our other page, if somebody wants to help me find it in here. We gotta do it for November too. November?
It would be page 103.
103. Whoa. No, maybe how about 102? Do the same thing.
Yeah, 102, yeah.
102. $6,070,129.81. Cross it out in the line above it. So I will hand these, I'm going to write as corrected on this page and pass it over to Ryan. Or can
How
I
do we
give it-
know that it actually will happen?
Oh, because in December I'll be,
Double check.
well, in December, they'll have to issue them and he'll send.
And if
us
it's not
the
there,
email.
then,
They'll just have to correct it. But in the meantime, we can file these as part of our board packet. Because in December, it will disappear if you won't have
Right.
our money anymore.
Right. Hold on.
I don't have any other questions on the statements.
Thank you for catching that.
Okay, you want to make the motion?
I make a motion to approve the October 31st, 2019 year-to-date financial statements as corrected, and the November 30th, 2019 year-to-date financial statements as corrected.
We're gonna do two
We also have
motions or just
December?
one for each
No,
month?
December
Because
wasn't
it's
here.
too,
oh, is this,
Page 153?
53.
Oh, I didn't look at December.
153 is here.
Oh,
Okay, we're gonna put a hold on December because I haven't looked at it.
okay. Andrea, just one motion for each one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I rescind my prior motion. I move for the board to approve the October 31st, 2019 year-to-date financial statements as corrected.
I'll second that. Discussion?
wait, which months are we approving?
Just
October.
October.
So one at a time,
Got
October.
it.
And then one at a time, then November.
You don't need a roll call, do you? Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay, next.
November.
November. I move to approve the November 30th, 2019 financial statements as corrected.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain.
Okay, I have not, because I got to, after two of them, I'm like, okay, I didn't realize when December was here. So, I apologize, and I would prefer to wait till I looked at them.
Okay, we'll put it on the next time.
Yeah, and typically, so the board knows the way this works, when they're done, I send them to Andrea first before anyone else
I
sees
wondered
them.
how you caught
And
that.
in this case, we just got December when the board packet was going out. That's probably why, yeah, it was too much at once, so.
So you realize we got October twice.
Yeah,
Yes.
The first time we got October, they
It was-
didn't put the bond fund on
It
it.
was wrong, I remember we
Now we have
talked
the
about
bond
that.
gets into the.
Then it went, then we got another October, this is we missed the
I'm
number
sick of
two.
October.
We got another October that Doug caught that they didn't put it across, because all of them add across.
Sure.
Which is the same thing they did like 5 years ago, they forgot to do that.
Hmm.
So this is the third set, which,
Yowza.
so I'm going to beg your pardon and we'll do December
We'd rather
at
have you
the
take a
committee
look
of
at
the
it.
whole.
Yeah, we can do it at the regular time then. Okay. Budget.
Yeah, so page 216 is the proposed timeline for the budget process. Obviously, you know, we're starting to work on that as a staff. And the timeline is mirrors what we did last year. So at the February committee, the whole meeting, the idea is to start to talk about the capital plan. That's that 10-year capital plan. Initial review of the major projects, continue that discussion into March. Then April, take a look at the initial presentation of the overall budget. And remember, this will coincide with her strategic plan. So at that point, the idea is that we will have identified some areas in the strategic planning process that we want to address. And then to formalize that more in May, and then finalize it in June. So, you know, continue discussions, and then when we get into that June regular board meeting is the approval of the budget. So we're ready to go at the start of the fiscal year with a brand-new budget.
Seems like we just finished.
I was just
Right.
thinking that, oh my gosh. It happens.
Any questions, comments, concerns about the timeline?
It works for us, why change it?
Yeah.
Okay. Policies. You're up.
First one is 2020. So we did not get to cover these at the committee of the whole, but they were very minor changes. Yeah, 2020 is first.
Can I just say, this, in section 2.01, where it says the expendable trust fund, parens the trust. Okay, so this is, I'm not sure how that got in there. If we were gonna do it, it should be at the front, at the top where you first say it.
Okay.
But also, we haven't really done it throughout this policy, except in Article 3. So I'm gonna propose that we just take that out and refer to it as its, with the
full name.
long name, yeah.
Okay.
So
There-
just to be consistent.
In Article 3, Joe, we start to do that, just notice
So go
that.
back
Yeah, that's
to-
what I said.
Oh, so you wanna even,
So you wanna
like, so
change
wherever it
all-
says
That's
all
the
that.
only
Expendable
place in here that we
Okay,
did it, and
right.
the rest it's still
Right,
spelled out.
right.
Or if you wanna do it, then let's put it at the front and change
Be
all of them
consistent.
to
Right,
trust.
okay, yeah.
One or the other. So I don't care, but,
I'll use the full name.
okay.
Because that's one
That-
change.
That's a simpler change. Also, I think there's a spacing issue at the top of the second page.
As printed or
Yeah, yeah,
Which may or may not,
be real.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It might go away when you
Accept the.
accept everything, but it might not, I don't know. But anyway, just an FYI.
And can I just ask a question that I'm not familiar with? Why did we change to marketable securities? Does that take a broader look at things?
That was-
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
here is just shares of
Just the
stock or
stocks,
real
yeah.
estate. Because somebody could give us bonds, they could give us
Right,
whatever.
that's kind of what I thought, but I wanted to be
So,
sure.
They could give us bonds.
Coins, yeah?
Oh,
Bitcoin, boom.
They could give us Bitcoin.
Those-
I just
Marketable
spent an hour-long
securities.
seminar on Bitcoin, so
Oh.
I know nothing, George, I know nothing.
Don't look at me on that one.
So I could, so, but
Okay, I just was curious. I thought
generally,
so.
I wouldn't, I would say always, except you're not supposed to do that. Generally, if anybody gives us anything that's marketable, sell it immediately, because we're not speculators,
No.
just
Fair
cash it
enough,
out.
fair enough.
And I want to bring, are you done?
Yeah.
I'd like to bring people's attention to paragraph 2.02. Jennifer and I crossed that out just to bring it up as discussion. We're not trying to sneak anything over on anybody. What we've seen in, what people have presented to us about fundraising is that we really shouldn't be using our fundraising
Right.
funds to raise funds. That people know that all of the money they give are going toward what they want, the project they're spending it, or going to spend it on, or whatever it
Kind of
is.
like a non-profit, you look and see how much is actually spent on what you donate.
Right, so we
I
can
agree
put
with
on
that.
our donate, if we get rid of this, we can put on our donation letters and things, 100% of donations
Yeah,
go toward,
nice.
you know, whatever the project is,
Fundraising.
but that's up for discussion.
No, I wrote yes, but I like that idea.
The counter argument to that would be then what funds do you use for the solicitation to send out the annual appeal letter, for example? Then you're using taxpayer dollars by default, because how else would you pay for those? And how do the taxpayers feel about that? I'm just throwing it out
Exactly
there. Right.
Good question.
Right.
So
Right.
It says used primarily though, so that is not solely. So
It's
couldn't,
primarily for library materials technology fund. I just like that 100% goes to.
While I like that in theory,
Mhm.
the idea of using taxpayer funds for fundraising is also
Not
a little
cool.
iffy.
Yeah.
So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to spend money on fundraising, no matter how we do it. Do we wanna budget it out of our general funds, or
That's
do we
what I
want to
would do.
use our expendable trust to do so?
What's everybody think?
I have no strong opinion. Good discussion.
Okay,
Ryan?
yeah, I mean the libraries that I've always been at, they use the money they raise to do the solicitation. Seems to be the model. There may be other libraries that do it differently, but I don't know of any of them.
Do you have any
Noreen, do you have any
idea?
insight into this?
I've just seen it that way more than taking it out of the regular, the taxpayer
Budget.
money.
Right.
What's the approximate cost that we spend per year? Do you have any idea?
We'd have to pull it out, we have it all
Just
listed.
curious.
Yeah.
It's varied, sometimes, some years it's been significant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, alternatively, although this is something we have to work out, and I don't love the idea. You could go to the friends and ask them for funds to use for us to do fundraising, but that just seems a little messy.
also then there'd be less money for programming, which,
Right. And then what if they decide, oh, we're not going to do it this year? And then we have
Yeah,
to.
right.
So
Maybe.
I don't know. There's no real good answer because I think the argument is good that. You're right. I think in best practices you don't use the same money, but I think some of those other organizations that do that have another source that they can tap into. So
okay, oh, you're in charge, sorry.
I feel like we should keep it as written, so it will not be struck out. It will stay as written. I will reject that red line.
I think we should take a vote on it.
We could also do that.
Really? Is there another way to do it?
I'm saying I think we
Yeah.
should take a vote on whether to strike it or not strike it.
Yep.
I mean, it's not a wording question we're talking about, this is a
Either we
policy
do or we
question.
don't, yeah.
I'm trying to find it in the financial statements, what we've spent so far this year. This is just revenue.
yeah, I'll take a look, Andrea, too. I might be able to find it faster. Let's see where expenditures report. That's departments and expenditure trust. Okay, so if I'm looking at the
Here it is,
expendable
here
trust
it is.
fund,
182.
Page 182?
yeah, we got that at the same time. Page 182, if you can look at that middle column, the annual budget, see what we've budgeted.
700 for postage, 2,100 for printing, 4,500 for public relations.
Yeah.
And some of those funds, for example, like the public relations, printing, that would be for like event like bingo. So for bingo, we'll print some things. We'll do some PR for bingo.
Now let's look at the revenues that we've gotten year-to-date in these budget transfers. That hasn't all been spent.
Yeah, I think the printing probably was printing for the annual appeal letters. I don't know if we needed to get like envelopes this year, I don't recall. And then the PR could have been for the Legacy Society, partially. Which obviously had some like one-time startup costs.
So,
Is this typical though, like year over year?
$7,000.
The budget,
It-
yes, that is typical.
Yeah, but in terms of, I mean, expenditures vary.
Okay, so revenues received for the expendable trust fund year-to-date, 4,673. That's for 6 months.
Right. That said, typically the more revenue comes in for expendable trust towards the latter half of the year, after the annual appeal hits, that money comes in. We'll do bingo. We'll get money for bingo. So
Mhm. So. I'm okay with leaving it in. Yep.
So we budgeted $5,300 toward fundraising from the expendable trust fund. Any total revenue for the year was? For December, which is half the year, 4,673,
Mhm.
less than the year's budget.
So for the full year, do you know what revenue?
I don't know what it was last year, because that's not reported on here.
and the thing with revenue too is that it varies from year to year. You know, like we got the Helen and Morrow, which doesn't happen every year, but it can vary if we get a sizable gift.
Okay.
And then we've also done different fundraising things like Celebration Square, you know, those kind of one-off things, which the board has agreed to get away from. So right now, our main fundraising efforts are annual appeal and then the bingo event.
Mhm. Well, do you want to take a vote? Is that what you would like to do?
Up to board president.
No, it's up to her.
Oh,
We can take a vote. I don't know how to procedurally.
Just do a straw poll,
Okay.
okay?
All in favor of keeping it as written?
Aye.
In favor of the change, the red line? Wait, was I supposed to vote?
yes.
Yeah.
So you are now the tie-breaking vote.
Let's keep it as written.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now somebody has to move to approve this as presented, or as
As amended.
As amended.
So, to track the changes that we're doing, we will be removing the phrase "the trust" from section 2.02, or
Right.
2.01, and changing "the trust" in 3.01 to the expendable trust fund,
Mhm.
and we will be uncrossing out the change in section 2.02.
I move that policy 2020 expendable trust fund be approved as amended.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Okay.
You will send me the final, right?
I'll send you two. One more. The next one is 2030. With one minor change to add the acronym and no other changes requested. It's on
I have one
two-
other
two-
change.
222.
We don't need that WNPLD after the.
Because we don't use it?
Because it's not used again in the policy.
Then
So
no
can go.
change.
Sorry, I did not notice that when I edited it.
Any questions on 2030, the fixed asset inventory depreciation?
Just a question to Andrea, are these years still acceptable for tax depreciation purposes?
We don't pay taxes.
Good point. Who cares?
Yeah.
Okay, are we good? Okay, I move that policy 2030, fixed asset inventory and depreciation be approved as amended.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Cool. All right, PLA.
Yeah, so why is this on the agenda? Didn't the board already approve this in the budget? Well, yes, but
Always.
here, pass this out. That copy should be in here somewhere. So this didn't go out in the packet because I wanted to do some research on my own because I thought, let's first of all back to the the last page. If you flip the document over to the back page. So policy 512 was passed. Oh, is it on here? No, the date's not on here. I guess it was passed part as an ordinance in fiscal year 2016, 2017. This is when a law came out. And basically the law came out because I think there were some government entities that were going to conferences and spending a lavish amount of dollars. So the law was passed saying, okay, if certain thresholds are exceeded in a public board meeting, that the board had to approve the expenditures. So if you go to, Exhibit A, it's the breakdown of expenditures. And the board at the time went with $200 a night. Well, so I'm attending PLA this year, and I pre-registered to get the pre-registration fee, and Gina was helping me out with this, and it got down to there were only a couple of hotels left, and of course the two hotels that PLA got the discounts were the two most expensive hotels. So we booked the Holston House Nashville, but then I looked, before the meeting, I thought, okay, let's see if I can do better. And I looked at the hotels. That's my writing on the side. If you go to page, this isn't numbered in here, all the hotels. Like the where I've written down next to the numbers, those are the rates currently. So PLA was actually able to get good rates.
$545.
Can you imagine? Isn't that crazy?
Come on, it's a JW.
And this is Nashville, right? This isn't New York City. So, and then I looked, okay, what if I stayed at a hotel by the airport, and I looked at that, and yes, I could get a cheaper rate, but by the time you look at a rental car and parking and gas, is it cheaper?
Let's cut this short.
Anyway, so my point is,
Clearly, you've done your due diligence. I'm trying to find
so-
a reasonably priced hotel, and they're gouging us.
right.
It's conference.
Right, and so, and the other reason I wanted to bring this to your attention too, because I think it's a policy the board should revisit. I think we're
Maybe
are we doing
updated.
500s? Just
We're
to,
doing 500 this year.
staff stress about this. It's like, well, I want to stay close, and I'll pay the difference. And I think the intent is for us to be respectful of taxpayer dollars, but not to stress out staff. So we need to come up with a balance and look at the market again and see where we're at with these rates. So.
So this is a kind of an odd question, but do we use a credit card for expenditures here at the library?
Typically,
So,
yeah.
okay.
That's one of the thick ones in there.
Right, so I'm just saying, as a Marriott card owner, if you use that, you get points to stay at hotels. Is that something to think about in the future?
I don't know if they do that with corporate card.
Yeah, they typically, corporate accounts are treated differently.
You think?
That's probably
Okay.
right.
Unless you have individuals surrender their points to the corporation.
Oh, is that, they don't give points for corporate cards?
They give the points to the individual, not to the
Not the-
Oh, I
corporation.
see. Okay.
Do we have to pay all the taxes at these hotels?
Well,
I think we do. I don't think our tax exemption works, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Gouging. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, my sister lives in Nashville.
I'll just send your
Check
sister
your
money.
You're- Check some Airbnb.
Okay, can she give me a ride to the
She
conference
also-
this morning?
She also works at the Mission downtown, so you could stay in the Mission, with the homeless folks. I'm
All
just
right.
saying.
Well,
I think Ryan's a little old for a youth hostel.
There's camaraderie and things that happen.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I agree with you. We have to make it right.
And I
Yeah.
think there's more competition, like in Chicago, they have so many hotels. So the prices would be probably cheaper in Chicago, but Nashville, I don't think they're gonna get.
Yeah, I was pretty,
Nashville's kind of a destination place now, though,
I was pretty shocked.
for
Still I'm
bachelor
shocked.
parties and all this stuff. I'm not kidding, I can't tell you anything. Yeah, it's a great little town, but I'm saying,
So do you need us to approve this?
That's the law.
let's do it. So what do you, so,
So basically, it's the first part of the packet. I mean, so basically, it's the hotel rate is, was it 305?
305.
305.
just go like that.
Better jump on the bed or something so we get everybody's words.
Are you want to make the motion, Andrea?
Yeah, I approve if only if he jumps on the bed.
I move to accept I move to approve the hotel expenses presented by Ryan Livergood to stay at, which hotel are you staying at?
Holston House, Nashville.
Holston House, Nashville,
I'll
for
second,
the PLA 2020 conference.
I'll second that. Further discussion? All those
Do I
in
need
favor say.
How many nights, Ryan?
It's 3 nights.
For 3 nights.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Okay, what's next? Oh, semi-annual review, page 223. You want to say anything about it?
Last one.
It's very end of the packet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, I could just do it. Yeah, no.
You don't want to say anything,
No.
say anything about it? Okay, can I have a motion to approve? I move that the board approve the semi-annual review as presented.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Can I do that or not?
Because she did that.
'Cause
Yeah,
I did
maybe
it.
you shouldn't.
Yeah, George and I, yeah.
I'll second.
Okay,
Thank you.
discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Where are we now?
We're getting to the end of,
Oh, board self-evaluation. How's it going?
We had a chance to take a look at the paper docs. Any changes, or should I go ahead with what we have?
I think we could go ahead with it.
Okay.
Cool. So what's next?
I will automate the form and get it ready to send out.
Cool.
okay,
All right.
easy.
Legislative breakfast.
So it's that time of year again, almost. President's Day legislative breakfast. It is on President's Day, of course. 7:40, which is
Sounds like he's selling.
Yeah.
well, I am because it's a great event, and we have a lot of representatives that attend the breakfast. And if it's just me and one other trustee or one other staff member, you know, with ideally, and it's nice to sit together, I know, but ideally we go and we can spread ourselves out and talk to our representatives. So. And it's a networking event. It's a great breakfast. It gets you energized about libraries. Last year there were patrons from various libraries that talked about the power of libraries, and it's important for our elected representatives to hear, especially from patrons. But you're the best type of patron. You are a library trustee and a patron. So if you can be there, I understand it's during the work week, but if you can go, we've budgeted for I think one trustee in this year's budget, but maybe there's room for more. We actually budgeted for 2 people to go to PLA, and only one person's going, so there's extra money though. The whole board wanted to
A
go.
lot on hotels.
I'm not going because I want us to be comfortable.
Oh, stop! I'll see you in my office after the meeting. No, but seriously, it's not terribly expensive anyway. So $25 or $30. So anyway, I
It's $30.
definitely have one opening, and I would encourage you to attend. Joe's been in the past. George has been. I think Andrew, you went one here, right? Or no?
It's on President's Day in February.
Okay, perhaps
I've
not.
never been.
Okay, perhaps not. Okay.
No, I
Someone else has been.
I'm quite certain I've
A previous board member. Oh, I bet he went. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
Let's
not go there, Gina.
Never mind.
It's on the board. It's the Arboretum Club, Buffalo Grove.
Dan's not here, let's
What time in the morning?
You're right.
7:45.
And what time does it end?
But that's when you.
10.
That's the earliest to arrive. I think 8:15 is the program.
Maybe I'll go next year because our office is moving to Deerfield.
Oh, that's
We're
great.
Real close by.
Okay.
Is it always at the same place every year?
Yeah, they typically have it there every year. So it's a good venue for it. So,
Who says yes?
Catherine?
I'm already booked in it all day.
oh, okay.
I'm covering for my boss's maternity leave, so how about that?
I realize the timing is not the best. It's a, you know. In fact, I don't even think, I think Champion's Daycare, for example, where I send my, I think they're closed for like a staff day, so there's no school, so it's also problematic for childcare reasons too, but. So, I know it's not the best date, but, all right, well, if you change your mind. I'll call Ann.
Just pencil it in.
All
You
right.
just wanna show off your great board.
I do.
Okay, anything for next agenda? Or committee of the whole, either one?
December financial statements on committee.
Yeah, I put that
Which is
down.
their rightful place
January.
anyway, but.
Yes.
Should have January ready.
December and
No, I guess
January.
We will do have the policies, the vault,
No.
and
The vault and the technology use, I sent you the vault today, and the other one I'll have by the end of the week.
You know, well, let's talk about it after the meeting is over.
Okay.
About the number of 3,000s seemed small to me.
okay.
So we'll have to fix that so that they're not overloaded next year. Otherwise, there'll
that's a
be
good
too
point.
many. Okay, we'll work on that.
But you'll have both of those, I mean, and I sent the one to you today.
Anything else?
Flex
What was the
flooring
other one, the
update?
vault and
The
what?
technology use.
Oh, yeah, tech,
It's
yeah.
at 65.
That one is gonna have some more.
I wanna
That's
say-
3045 and the floor.
I'm impressed because the agenda added up to over 2 hours. It's not even an hour.
So far.
Joe, did you get the flex flooring for the committee of the
Oh,
whole?
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And also an update on the bookmobile?
Okay. Anything else? Okay.
Did you put the board philosophy discussion for this?
Yes, I
Oh, it's
did.
up first, okay.
Mhm. Okay. Anyone want to speak in public forum? Announcements? Anyone have announcements? No? Who would like to move to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. All right.
Wow.
52, pretty
always
darn
say it's
good. Woo!